Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're all about getting that edge in our learning. And today, we're tackling something super interesting. It's all about how our ability to just say no to those distractions while we're hitting the books. How that ties into how we see our future, and how effectively we can actually steer our own learning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about it. It's like resisting that urge to procrastinate and having a clear vision of where you want to be academically down the road.
Yeah.
Then there's how well you're actually managing your study game.
Mm.
It's all connected, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a deep dive into some really cool research on this. We're talking about academic delay of gratification. Then there's future time perspective and self-regulated learning.
We're going to unpack all of that, really get into how they all relate to each other and what it means for your academic journey.
So it's like a cheat sheet for success, right?
Exactly. We're going to be looking at a whole bunch of research on this topic. So yeah, think of it like a shortcut to understanding all these important pieces of the puzzle.
Awesome. All right, so let's kick things off with this idea of delay of gratification.
Okay, sure.
I think most people have heard of the marshmallow test, like the classic one where you give kids the option of having one marshmallow right now, or if they can wait a bit, they get two.
Yeah, the marshmallow test. Classic.
Right, so it seems pretty simple, but the results were pretty surprising.
Yeah, they were. So you have researchers like Walter Mischel who found that these little preschoolers, the ones who could resist that marshmallow and wait for the double prize, well, they tended to be more academically successful as teenagers, and they were more socially competent, too.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. It's not just about the marshmallows, right?
No, it's about something much bigger. It's
Yeah.
like this early ability to kind of hold off on what you want right now for something better later. It's not just some cute kid thing. It actually sets the stage for how they do in school and even in life.
It's like building a foundation, almost.
Exactly. A foundation for success. And it didn't just stop there. They followed these kids, and when they became adults, like in their 30s, guess what? The ones who were good at delaying gratification as kids were still better at it as adults. And get this, they were even better at handling stress.
Really? So it's like a lifelong benefit.
It seems so, but here's the thing. The ability to delay gratification, it's not fixed. It's not like you're born with it and that's it. The situation you're in actually plays a big role.
I see. So what you're saying is that it's not just about willpower.
Right. It's more nuanced than that. For instance, in the marshmallow test, they found that how kids thought about the marshmallows actually influenced their ability to wait. Like, if they imagined the marshmallow as something else, not food, but like a fluffy cloud or something, they were more successful at holding off.
So it's like a mental trick almost.
Yeah, kinda. And having something else to do, like toys to play with, also helped them keep their minds off the marshmallow.
Distractions can be a good thing in this case.
Exactly. So you see, it's not just about willpower. It's about strategies, even for little kids.
Makes sense. So is this where the hot and cool systems come in?
You got it. Metcalf and Mischel, they came up with this idea to explain how we pursue goals over time, even when there are temptations right in front of us. The hot system, that's the emotional, impulsive part of us. It's like, give me that marshmallow now. It reacts quickly and is driven by, the immediate stuff.
It's like the instant gratification monster.
Haha, yeah, kind of. And, when we're stressed, that hot system tends to take over. But then there's the cool system. It's like the voice of reason.
Ah, so that's the more thoughtful side.
Yeah, exactly. It's cognitive, more complex, slower to react. This is the system that helps us exercise self-control, even when we're stressed out. It helps us think about our long-term goals and override those immediate urges.
So when you're trying to study, your hot system might be like, let's watch some videos, or let's just scroll through social media for a bit.
Right, exactly. And your cool system is like, hey, remember that exam you need to ace?
Remember that deadline.
Get back to work.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the struggle is real.
It is. Now, Mischel also talked about this difference between choosing a delayed reward, like deciding you actually want to go for it, which he calls the goal choice phase.
Okay, so that's like step one, I guess.
Right. And then there's actually sticking to that choice, resisting those temptations along the way, which is the goal control phase.
Oh, so that's where the real challenge is.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And a bunch of things can influence that initial choice to go for the delayed reward. Like, do you actually believe you can achieve it? Do you trust you'll actually get the reward? Have you seen other people succeed at it?
So it's like a combination of belief, trust, and seeing others do it.
Yeah, exactly. But then when it comes to staying on track, it's all about using those mental and behavioral strategies to avoid distractions and keep your eye on the prize. So goal choice might be deciding, I want an A in this course.
And then goal control is everything you do to make that happen, while resisting temptations along the way. Got it. So where does the cognitive affective personality theory, CAPS, fit into all of this?
Oh, CIPS is a really interesting framework. It basically says that how we react in different situations, well, it depends on how we see those situations and what's going on inside us, you know?
Yeah.
Our thoughts, our feelings, everything.
So it's like our individual perception and inner world shape how we respond.
Yeah, that's it. And Mischel and his colleagues, they pointed out 5 key things we do. How we size up situations, what we think will happen, how we feel emotionally, what we value, and our abilities and plans for self-control.
It sounds pretty comprehensive.
It is. And there was even this study with kids in Trinidad. It showed how much they believed they'd actually get a promised reward, which was influenced by things like their social and political environment.
Interesting. Their environment actually affected their willingness to wait.
Yeah. If they didn't think they would get the reward, they were less likely to wait.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But, all this marshmallow stuff, it's great. But it's mostly about kids and those immediate, tangible rewards. Doesn't quite capture the whole world of academic goals for us grown-ups, does it?
That's a great point. When we talk about adults and academic goals, the rewards change, you know? It's not
Right.
just about getting more candy later. It's about careers, fulfillment, a sense of achievement.
Wait, it's much more complex.
Way more complex. And we adults, we think and behave differently than kids. Our learning process is more intricate, more sophisticated.
For sure. Choosing between going out with friends or studying for a big exam, those are totally different categories of rewards. It's
Right.
not like choosing between 1 cookie now and 2 later.
Yeah.
So how do we apply this whole delay of gratification thing to academics, especially for adults?
That's where the concept of ADO comes in, academic delay of gratification. Researchers like Benvenuti and Karabenik, they really honed in on this.
ADO high. I like it.
Right. It's basically the willingness to put off those immediate pleasures, those urges, to achieve those bigger, longer-term academic goals that are seen as more valuable.
So it's like choosing to study for that exam instead of going to that party because you know that good grade will matter more in the long run.
Exactly. And they even created a way to measure this, the ADOGS, the Academic Delay of Gratification Scale. It presents students with these realistic scenarios they might face. Each one has a choice between something fun right now and something that'll benefit them academically later.
So it's like a test of how good you are at delaying gratification in academic situations.
Yeah, you could say that. A classic example from the scale is this. Imagine you have the option of going to an amazing concert or a big game, but it means you might get a lower grade on an exam the next day. That's the immediate temptation. The other option is staying home and studying, which increases your chances of getting that higher grade. That's the delayed academic reward.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is. And when we talk about the ADOGS later on, we can just say the academic delay of gratification scale, which, as we discussed, presents those scenarios just to keep things flowing.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So what have they learned from using this scale? Like, what do students who are good at academic delay of gratification, what do they do differently?
Well, it turns out they're more likely to use effective learning strategies. They're better at organizing their study materials, they actively rehearse information to remember it better, and they really try to understand concepts deeply. They don't just skim the surface.
That makes total sense. If you're willing to sacrifice a little fun now for better grades later, you're probably going to be more strategic about how you study, too.
Right. And it's not just about those cognitive strategies. They're also better at managing their time and their study environment. They put in the effort, they're not afraid to ask for help when they need it, and they even collaborate with their peers.
Wow, so it's like a whole package of good study habits.
Exactly. And these findings came from studies using questionnaires like the MSLQ, the Motivated Strategies for Learning questionnaires. And these patterns, they're not limited to one type of student. We see it across the board.
That's pretty powerful evidence.
It is. Even a study with 8th graders in Korea showed similar results. So it seems like this ability to delay gratification, it's not just about resisting temptation. It's linked to a whole range of positive learning behaviors.
So if you can master that delay, you're setting yourself up for success.
Exactly. But, there's a nuance here. Not everyone who delays gratification is automatically a super efficient learner. What about procrastinators?
Oh, right. They delay things, but not always in a good way.
Exactly. Both procrastinators and those who intentionally delay gratification, they both deal with the timing of tasks. But their reasons and how they approach learning can be quite different.
So it's not just about when you do something, but why you do it.
Right. Procrastinators, they often put off work without a clear strategy. They might end up having to miss out on fun stuff last minute anyway because they ran out of time. Researchers like DeWitt and Lenz, they've highlighted this. Just because someone delays, it doesn't mean they're managing their learning well.
Procrastination isn't always a strategic move.
Not really. Procrastinators often lack what's called a broad action future time perspective. They don't always see the link between what they do now and what might happen later on.
So it's less about making a conscious choice and more about avoiding the task.
Yeah, kind of. So while procrastination and academic delay of gratification both involve this time element, the motivations behind them and how they relate to learning are different.
Got it. That makes sense. Now let's talk about what drives ADOG, what motivates students to delay gratification in academics. Seems like the thinking has shifted, right?
It has. We used to see delay of gratification as this personal capacity, like some people have it, some don't. But now we understand it more as a choice based on what motivates us.
So why would someone choose to give up something fun now for something that might benefit them later?
Well, researchers like Mischel, Atkinson, and Eccles, they all emphasize this idea. It's about how much you value that future reward and how much you believe you can actually achieve it.
So belief and value play a huge role.
Absolutely. There's this study by Kara Bennick and Ben Benatti. They really dug into this. They had students rate how much they liked and valued both the immediate and the delayed options in those AD scenarios and how likely they thought they were to succeed with each option.
So they were trying to understand what makes students choose one option over the other.
Yeah, exactly. And what they found was that the bigger the difference in those ratings, the more likely students were to choose to delay.
So if they really valued that future reward and believed they could achieve it, they were more likely to put off the immediate gratification.
Exactly. It means AD isn't just about willpower. It's about how you evaluate those choices, consciously or not. And this is where your future time perspective really comes into play, how you see those long-term academic rewards.
And how confident you feel about achieving those goals.
Yes, that's self-efficacy, your belief in your own ability to succeed. And that's a huge factor in motivation and performance, especially in academics.
So the more confident you are, the more likely you are to delay gratification.
It seems so. Research by Benvenuti with minority college students actually showed that ADO acts as a mediator between self-efficacy and academic achievement, meaning your belief in yourself boosts your willingness to delay, which then leads to better grades.
Wow, so self-belief actually leads to better academic performance through this delay of gratification mechanism.
That's one of the key takeaways, yeah. And he found that this link between delay of gratification and grades was even stronger when students were good at managing their time and effort.
So it's like a chain reaction.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself, delay gratification, manage your time well, and boom, better grades.
Exactly, it's all connected. Self-efficacy also had a direct impact on achievement and an indirect effect through its influence on metacognition and time management. So you can see how these things all work together.
Absolutely. It's not just about one thing, it's a whole system. Speaking of systems, let's dig into the connection between delay of gratification and self-regulated learning. We've talked about how students who are good at delaying gratification tend to use better learning strategies, but how does this fit into the bigger picture of self-regulation?
Okay, so think about setting those long-term academic goals. That's a core part of self-regulation, right? And remember, it's tied to your future time perspective. Now, Zimmerman has this cyclical model of self-regulation that really helps us understand this. It's based on Bandura's social cognitive theory, which emphasizes the interplay between you, the learner, your learning environment, and your actual learning behaviors.
There's like a dynamic system where all these factors are constantly influencing each other.
Exactly. Successful students, they're basically masters of self-regulation. They manage their motivation, their learning, their environment, their behavior. It's like they're in the driver's seat.
That's a great analogy. So what makes these successful self-regulated learners so good at what they do?
Well, they're good planners, for one. They set specific, achievable goals, and they're always thinking ahead, trying to anticipate any obstacles that might pop up. They also have a strong sense of self-efficacy. They believe in themselves, and they're always monitoring their progress, figuring out what works and what doesn't.
So it's like they're constantly evaluating and adjusting their approach.
Precisely. They make constructive interpretations of their performance. Like, if they don't do well, they don't just give up. They think, okay, what can I do differently next time? They attribute it to things they can change, like their effort, not to something fixed like their ability. Less effective learners, they might struggle with all of this.
Right, so self-regulated learners are proactive and adaptable.
Exactly. And remember those three phases in Zimmerman's model: forethought, performance, and self-reflection. Delay of gratification, it plays a key role in the performance phase.
Okay, remind me, what are those phases all about again?
Sure, so forethought is about planning, setting goals, building self-efficacy, getting interested in the subject. Performance is when you're actively learning, using strategies to focus, to learn effectively, to check your understanding. And self-reflection is about looking back, seeing what worked, what didn't, and tweaking your approach for next time.
So delay of gratification helps you stay focused during that active learning phase.
Yes, it's about making sure your actions are aligned with your long-term goals, not getting derailed by distractions. By delaying those tempting impulses, you stay on task and keep moving towards those academic objectives.
So if I'm understanding this right, your future time perspective is influencing this entire cycle. From setting those long-term goals in the forethought phase to reflecting on your progress in the self-reflection phase, always with those future aspirations in mind.
You got it. If you have a longer-term perspective, you're going to set more meaningful goals, and you'll have a stronger sense of instrumentality, which means you'll see how your actions now connect to your future goals. Lenz and his colleagues, they talk about how FTP shapes your motivation by influencing how you understand the connection between what you're doing now and what you want to achieve later.
I see. So instead of seeing studying as just another chore, you see it as a step towards a better grade, a better degree, a better career.
Exactly. It's about seeing the bigger picture, how those small actions contribute to those big goals.
This is all fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
So we've seen how self-regulated learning and delay of gratification are connected and how future time perspective is kind of the foundation for both. Let's dive a bit deeper into that direct link between delay of gratification and FTP. I'm guessing that having a longer FTP can really boost your ability to delay gratification.
You're absolutely right. It all comes down to how we value things in the future. The research on delay of gratification showed that the further away a reward is, the less we tend to value it right now.
Makes sense. Out of sight, out of mind.
Right. But here's the cool part. People with a longer FTP, they don't see those future time periods as so distant. They're better at bridging that gap between now and later. So because they value those more distant rewards more highly, they're more willing to give up something now to get them.
It's like they can almost see that future reward in their mind's eye, making it more real and more important in their current decisions.
Precisely. It's like bringing the future closer to the present. And then there's perceived instrumentality, which is about anticipating the long-term consequences of your actions. Having a strong sense of instrumentality means you clearly see how your efforts today lead to those valued outcomes in the future. Remember that finding we discussed earlier, how students who really value their academic outcomes are more likely to delay gratification.
Right. It's all about seeing the connection between present actions and future rewards.
Exactly. And let's not forget about motivation, both the intrinsic kind, the enjoyment you get from learning itself, and the extrinsic kind, those external rewards you're after.
They both play a role, don't they?
Absolutely. Benvenuti and Karabenik, they found that students who were better at delaying gratification were more intrinsically motivated. They enjoyed learning for learning's sake. But they were also more extrinsically motivated, driven by those rewards that academic success brings.
So it's not an either-or situation. You can be driven by both the joy of learning and the desire for those external rewards.
Exactly. It's like a double whammy of motivation. Lenz and his colleagues even broke down instrumentality into different types, like seeing a task as a stepping stone to external rewards or as something that helps you grow internally.
So it's not just about the what of the reward, but the why behind it, too.
Exactly. We need more research to fully connect these different types of instrumentality to ED Grow, but the principle is clear. The stronger you see that link between your efforts now and your goals, whether it's about personal growth or external achievements, the more likely you are to delay gratification.
So it's like a motivation equation. Stronger connection equals greater willingness to delay. It makes sense.
Right. But there's another layer to this. It's not just about positive rewards. Remember how the marshmallow test was all about choosing between two good things? Academic goals are different.
You mean because there can be negative consequences, too?
Exactly. Think about it. Sure, there's the potential for a fulfilling career, but there's also the stress of exams, the pressure to succeed. Research on motivation shows that we're driven by both approaching positive outcomes and avoiding negative ones.
So the fear of failing can also play a role in our motivation.
Yes, if you're super focused on avoiding failure, those future academic hurdles might seem scarier. And that might actually make you less willing to delay gratification because suddenly avoiding the task right now, even if it means a worse outcome later, seems more appealing.
It's like the immediate relief of procrastination outweighs the potential future benefits.
Exactly. This also ties into different goal orientations in learning. Are you more focused on mastering the material or just getting a good grade? These orientations might influence your willingness to delay gratification as well.
Right. It's all about how you approach the learning process and what you prioritize. So it sounds like effective self-regulation. It's about staying focused on the task, using those smart learning strategies, and keeping that long-term perspective front and center.
You nailed it. Learners with a strong future time perspective, they break down tasks, they believe in their ability to succeed, and they use self-control strategies to stay on track. And that future-oriented view, it's crucial when you're reflecting on your learning. It helps you see how far you've come and where you need to go next.
It's like having a roadmap for your learning journey, constantly checking your progress and adjusting your course.
Precisely. And the research is clear. Delay of gratification is a must-have skill for achieving those big, long-term goals, in any field, but especially in academics.
So we've established that there's a strong link between delay of gratification and future time perspective. But it seems like there hasn't been a ton of research directly exploring this connection. Have there been any studies that shed some light on this?
Well, you're right, the direct research might be limited, but there are some studies that offer valuable insights. For example, Ward and colleagues, they studied African American university student leaders. They found a positive relationship between their tendency to choose studying over leisure, which is a sign of achievement-oriented delay of gratification, and their career and academic interests.
So those with long-term goals were more likely to prioritize studying over immediate fun.
Exactly. It suggests that having those future aspirations was linked to a greater willingness to delay gratification for academic gain. Witt did a study with college students and found something similar. Those better at delaying gratification were more satisfied with and committed to their university, again, hinting at a link between delay and those long-term academic outcomes.
It's like they could see the bigger picture,
Yeah.
how their present sacrifices would pay off in the future. And what about those studies that looked at how students value academic tasks?
Yeah, those are interesting too. Bembenetti and Karabenik and Kim and his colleagues with middle schoolers, they found that when students saw their academic tasks as more useful for their future, they were more likely to choose them over more tempting non-academic options.
It's like if you can see how your studies are relevant to your future self, you're more likely to buckle down and do the work.
Right. It all comes back to that connection between what you're doing now and where you want to be later. And then there's that study by Bembenetti and Zimmerman that looked directly at how students expect their efforts to pay off in the future. That's really aligned with future time perspective and perceived instrumentality.
Right. They were trying to measure how students see the future benefits of their academic work.
Exactly. And they found some really interesting correlations. Students who believed their efforts would benefit them later were more likely to delay gratification, use effective learning strategies, show interest in their coursework, and get better grades.
Wow, that's pretty compelling evidence that having a positive future time perspective is linked to success in academics.
It really is. It shows how all these pieces fit together. Your vision of a future, your ability to delay gratification, your self-regulated learning strategies, they all contribute to your overall success.
So to wrap things up, it seems like we've uncovered this really powerful and interconnected set of ideas. Your ability to resist those distractions and put in the work, it's not just about willpower. It's deeply tied to how you see your future and how well you're managing your own learning.
Exactly. And this connection, it influences your motivation, your learning strategies, and ultimately how well you do in your studies. It's not one thing in isolation, it's a whole system working together.
So I want everyone listening to think about this. How are your own dreams for the future and your ability to say no to distractions shaping your learning right now?
Yeah, good question. What small change, even a tiny shift in perspective or how you approach learning, could make a big difference in reaching those long-term goals?
Think about the balance between what feels good right now and what you truly want to achieve down the road. That's something worth pondering, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning and keep striving for those big goals.
See you next time.